have we just seen the perfect retirement, the ideal way for a grappler to end their career? It seems Adam Wardzinski has decided that this victory at the 2025 World Championships in the heavyweight division is going to be his last match. He took the title, and once his hand was raised in victory, he left his belt on the mat, seemingly ending his career at the top level, the elite level of grappling. So I wanted to jump on the podcast and give some immediate thoughts to the 2025 Worlds and Adam Wardzinski's seeming retirement. I say that because there's not been any interview with Adam after the event that I've seen. All I have seen is that symbolism at the event itself. But it does seem that Adam has retired from top level competition. So this pod with me, Ross, at the Jiu Jitsu Oracle, by myself once again, because my colleague Callum is away traveling, is going to be a bit of a stream of consciousness. I'm going to do my best to recap the highlights from the 2025 Worlds, focusing on Adam's seeming retirement. So bear with me if you agree or disagree with anything I've said. If you want to pull me up on anything, then jump into the comments and let me know. But I'm just going to do my best to speak about the event off the top of my head. So, Adam, if this is to be it, what a career. I believe started jiu-jitsu at about 18, and then his path to where he is now has been a really interesting one. He's an inspiration, showing that it's not all about just keeping going. You have to have the skills, the determination, etc., to back that all up. But if you do, and you keep going and you keep going and you keep adding to your game, like, you have a chance of being great. And I think what's really interesting with Adam is he has been someone who I have watched more and more and more of as his career has developed, because he has added more to his game, and it's been really interesting to see these developments. And I think he's 34 years old now, and really, like, it's been 33, 34 where we've seen peak Adam, where he's added to that beautiful butterfly sweep game that he had, where he's added foot sweeps when grapplers have been standing, making it hard for him to get into the butterfly game, where we've seen dominant top game, where before he would sweep and maybe get swept back. So I think, like, studying Adam in recent years, it shows that as you advance in your career, particularly at the heavier weights where speed's less of a factor, like, you can still be adding lots to your game, and then getting to that point where kind of the way you play jiu-jitsu is complete for you. I think one thing on this, Adam, his sweep game, what I heard called during the event as the 9-point sweep, that is a huge factor. So in the Worlds, it was very sweep heavy, okay? Like, passing elite guards is very, very difficult, especially when we get later into the competition. Guys making it to semis and finals, like, they have guards that are very, very difficult to pass. We didn't see many guard passes at that stage of the tournament. Most points are scored by sweeps. So the difference between sweeping someone and scoring 9 points. So Adam, when he sweeps, he'll get 2 points for the sweep. He'll sweep into, like, a dominant top position, often not deep half, but a half guard, where he is far into the pass towards mount. Or it's like quarter guard the guy on bottom has, and then he'll take mount. So that's 3 points for the pass, 4 points for the mount. That gives you 7. Added to 2 points for the sweep, that's 9. Whereas I think we saw through the event, some people, when they chose to come up on top, they would only get an advantage. So You're in bottom position, you set up your sweep. You start to come up to top. The guy on top starts to defend. The attack breaks down. Maybe they strip a grip, they get their leg free, etc. Then we're back standing. You only score an advantage for coming up. What can be even worse in that situation is when the person who was then defending the sweep, when the match is re-established on the feet for 3 seconds and it counts as both guys standing, when the guy who had been on top gets the chance to then pull and then set themselves on bottom, they then give themselves a chance to sweep and score another 2 points. And there was a couple of times that happened during the event. I think even in at least one of the finals, person scored 2 points for a sweep. Other guy tried to sweep back, didn't, maybe got an advantage. Guy who's already in the lead re-pulls and then sweeps again. So it's now 4-0. And like that can be an advantage that's almost insurmountable at the elite level. Like you pretty much have to go straight to mount or straight to the back. Probably straight to the back's like the most likely way to do it. So then you get your 4 points back and it's 4-4. But like it's very, very, very rare that we see that happen. So just reiterating Adam's style of playing where he sweeps and like he scores not just a 2 for the sweep, but then he scores for passing and mounting. That means that he is far more likely to win the match. And it's something I talk about in my coaching at SBG Aberdeen to guys who compete, is like trying to make the most of your sweep. I think we saw in the event, guys are very, very seasoned. What they'll do is, if they start to come up on a sweep and they feel that they're not likely to score multiple points off the sweep, like they're going to put themselves in a place where the other guy can sweep back right away. Like they'll sit back down, reset the position slightly, and then try and come up in a very dominant fashion. That's really smart. Like I saw that idea happening a few different ways in the event. Like for example, guys who are in closed guard top, when they're trying to exit the closed guard, if they feel vulnerable, they're happy to come back down, get back to a kneeling position, and then work once again to stand up. So like it just shows the value in practicing these things in training, like coming up on a sweep, making sure that you're going to be in a very dominant position, practicing your closed guard, making sure that you can exit well. I think that sweep game as well, what's interesting is like on the receiving end, some guys are very, very happy to like concede a sweep in a way that they're going to land in a position that they can sweep back. So at the top level of the sport, that's what guys are thinking about when they get swept. It's like, oh, well, if I'm going over, I can kind of get to like a very strong single leg X with a pant grip, I'll take it and I'll sweep back. But when I sweep back, I'm going to sweep back in a way that's going to put me in a position where it's very, very hard for them to sweep me back, and I'm going to be heading towards like a pass and a mount. So the sweep game's huge. That was pretty much at play in all the finals that I saw. But the most newsworthy final was the heavyweight with Adam Wardzinski seeming to go out on top as a Grand Slam champion. Now, just a note on that. To me, the Grand Slam is winning the Euros, the Pans, the Brasileiro, and the Worlds. Now, that's like kind of the order I would expect it to happen, right? The Euros at first and the Worlds at the end. Like in most sports I watch, in nearly every sport I watch, the Worlds is the last event that you need to win to get this slam, right? It makes sense. Like the season builds to the World Championship. But with the IBJJF, I've seen it said that like they start their season with the Worlds, and then if you add the Euros, the Pans, and the Brasileiro after that, they consider it a Grand Slam. So I think I'd seen going into this event, Adam was already considered a Grand Slam champion, having won the 2024 Worlds and then Euros Pan's Brasileiro in 2025. That was counted as a slam for the 24-25 season. That doesn't seem to make sense to me. Like, I see the slam as being everything within the calendar year, finishing in the World Championships, particularly because, like, when we've heard about super slams with Cabrinha and Mika adding ADCC titles, then that's all within the calendar year. Doesn't matter for Adam anyway, because now he's added the 2025 Worlds to all the other majors and gone out on top as a definitive Grand Slam champion. But if you can further explain that when it comes to the IBJJF, please let me know. So yeah, really interesting to see what Adam does next. Whether he focuses on, you know, running a gym, raising his family, chilling and listening to heavy metal music. We'll see. I'd be really keen to speak to Adam. If anyone could put me in touch with him, that would be awesome. Failing that, if he's doing any interviews, I'd love to hear him explain what his thoughts are. So let's dive into some of the other stuff that happened in the event that's super noteworthy, which, if you watched it, you'll be aware of, but I'll throw in some comments along the way that you might agree or disagree with. If you didn't watch it, then this will clue you up on what happened. I think you absolutely should be watching IBJJF World. First off, for all the people that say, oh, Jiu-Jitsu is boring, that's something I totally don't agree with. I think this Worlds was super exciting. I think it was really boosted by a lot of young grapplers pushing the pace. These young grapplers are now at the very top of the divisions. We've seen plenty of young world champions. I think we've seen a common theme in sport, and it even played out this weekend. Paris Saint-Germain, very young team, winning the UEFA Champions League. Indiana Pacers are going to play OKC in the NBA Finals. Two very young teams with young players who can push the pace, make multiple transitions happening in short periods of time. These are things we're seeing across sport. So I think the IBJJF Worlds showed that as well, that it's happening in jiu-jitsu. And I'll mention some of the young grapplers that really, really impressed. But I think you should be watching this. If you can, get it on Flow Grappling, pay the fee that you have to watch it. I pay for multiple platforms to watch sporting events, whether it's NBA, League Pass, NFL, Game Pass. Like, I'm happy to do that to see what I want to. Pay for Flow Grappling as well. Absolutely get the criticisms that come with Flow Grappling. Sometimes there's buffering. Sometimes commentators will disappear for a break for half an hour, and we'll, you never get that during the Olympics, right? Commentators just going, yep, now we're going to go for a half-hour break, despite all these exciting grapplers away to have matches. So stuff like that. I think if Craig Jones is now involved in Flow Grappling, like, these are the things he needs to look at to make the service better. I think when I open the Flow Grappling page in the morning, I want just to click once and get a spoiler-free replay of the event happening on my screen right away. That's what happens with other platforms I use. So please try and make these improvements to the service. That said, Jiu-Jitsu is an incredibly niche sport, and I'm very, very happy that I get the chance to see all the matches at the Worlds. So thanks for the service. I just hope it's improved a little bit. But even if you're not paying for it, yeah, get on Instagram, see the highlights. There'll be matches, no doubt, going up on YouTube for free. And take a look at some of the action, because I thought it was a fantastic event. Some of the other highlights. Shout out Gabi Pisagna for winning her 10th world title. I think it's 5 double golds weight and absolute in a row. She had 2 finals victories over Tayane Porfirio. Yes, Gabi against Tayane is, in terms of victories, one-sided towards Gabi. But Tayane has a victory, a recent victory at a major over Gabi, and gives her close matches. And I think that's great because we've seen Gabby pretty much run through a lot of the competition. So there is now a rivalry there with Gabby and Tayane, and yeah, hopefully that continues because it's good for the sport. Yeah, it's better than just one person steamrolling a division. Shout out Eric Muniz, who I believe took double gold weight in absolute for the first time. Bit of a disappointment that in the open class final, and nobody will be more disappointed than Gutenberg, that an injury to a foot or an ankle, it seems, as he hopped onto the mat just to for the ceremonial lifting of Eric's arm to declare him as victor because Gutenberg couldn't do the match. So slightly disappointing that the whole event didn't end with the male open class final, but I think Eric, absolutely worthy winner. He's the best heavy, ultra heavy, super heavy, etc. weight grappler in the world right now. And like, this is another reason why you should be watching Gi Grappling, because Eric, one of the best grapplers in the world, but chooses to only, might do the odd no-gi match that I'm not really aware of, but it seems that like if you want to watch Eric, you need to watch him in the kimono. So then, to me, that makes absolute sense as a fan of grappling, as a grappling coach, that I need to be watching Eric compete in whatever clothing he chooses to compete in. So, yeah, weight and absolute title for Eric and Gabby. Congratulations to both of them. Some of the other highlights we saw in the event, I believe we now have the youngest ever world champ, Mia Funegra. I think I read that she was promoted to black belt the day before the whole event kicked off in an attempt that she would break these records. So if that's the case, that is a fantastic achievement. Tainan Dalpra is back as a world champion, his third world title. He'd won two, then there was 2 years where he didn't win. One because Jansen Gomez beat him in the final, one because he was DQ'd during the event. Now he's back at the top, and deservedly so. Fantastic sweeping game, close guard into X guard, wrestling up on top, fantastic passing. As soon as he gets loose, like he's either going to pass or take the back. So Tynan back on top of the podium. Jansen Gomez also back on top of the podium. Can we get a rematch between Tynan and Jansen, please? Someone, some promoter, put these two guys together. Like, yes, it'll probably cost money. Maybe a fair bit of money to make it happen, but I think it'd be fantastic if it did. Also, in the male divisions, Mateus Gabriel got back on top of the podium. It's been a few years since his last world title. Shout out my teammate, Ben Campbell, for helping Mateus prepare for the event. I say that because Ben had a match against Mateus at, I think it's the Rome Open. Mateus jumped in as preparation for the Worlds and just to get some matches in to get his sword a little bit sharper. And yeah, beat Ben at the event, but then went on to win a world title. So yeah, thanks Ben for helping out Mateus there. What else did we have in the male divisions? Diego Pato won a very, very close match against Baby Shark. I think it's now 3 titles in a row for Pato, 4 overall. And he leads Baby Shark 4-3 in their career series. So they're no doubt going to have many more matches together. A very close match, that one. Tactical battle. Baby Shark scored an advantage early doors for coming up on top of the double guard pool, and it looked like he was going to hang on to that advantage all the way through to the end. Although Pato near the end went for a sort of armbar attack from guard, and that allowed him to score an advantage back, and then it went to the ref's decision, if I remember all that correctly. But yeah, really interesting as well that like at the roosterweight level division, taken by Jalen Financier, who's had an amazing rookie season. We saw him and Bebeto play that classic roosterweight game of sweep for sweep. And I think if you're interested in jiu-jitsu point scoring strategy, go and watch that, because I think that was a match where Jalen was able to get 4-0 up on Bebeto early doors, and then like that's almost insurmountable for Bebeto. Jalen scored his first two by, oh, this is a point I want to make for all you geeks. So Jalen scored his first two by having a footlock attack as it went out of bounds. So then it got reset in the middle. He's 2-0 up. They're standing. He pulls guard, so he gets bottom position again. And then the second, then when he gets on top, he's now 4-0 up. So that's like such a huge advantage at the rooster weight, where guys tend to sweep each other back and forth, especially since the days of Lucas Pinheiro, who was able to like maintain top position and give him like such an edge in that division. I think we saw in one of Tynan's matches, he was near the edge of the mat and his opponent had a grip round the foot, and had it gone out of bounds, the referee might have judged that it went out of bounds while a submission attack was on. Therefore, it's reset standing in the middle, and the opponent or the person with the attack gets 2 points. As it was, Tynan felt under no real threat of the submission, so he pulled the action. He was the one pulling the action back into the middle, so that when there was any reset, there wasn't going to be a 2-point score for the attacker. So very, very smart play for Tynan. I have to say, watch the AOJ guys, and they are strategically very, very sound. And at this level of the sport, I think you have to be, right? It gives you like a big edge. But yeah, interesting that like Financier against Bebeto at the rooster weight went sweep for sweep. And then just like not that much heavier, Baby Shark's able to really maintain top position against Pato and avoid being swept. So like, is it just because like at the rooster weight division, it's kind of decided before, like both guys are going to play that style of like try to sweep back and forward, and nobody's wanting to take that top position? Or is it because like just with the weight they can't? Although in saying that, Baby Shark's not that much heavier and he can stay on top against someone with incredible sweeps like Pato. So, and we've seen Lucas Pinheiro in the past be able to do it. So I find that interesting. I have to say the sweep for sweep isn't like my preferred style of jiu-jitsu, but it was an interesting match between Jalen and Bebeto. Even if it kind of, once Jalen had got 4-0 in the lead, I did think he was going to see it out. We had something that we see very, very rarely, a number 22 seed, a seed outside the top 4, take the title. João Mendes, who beat Meira Monique in the final. And again, you can't say Gi Jiu-Jitsu is boring if you have guys like Meira Monique and Jansen Gomez in the division. But congratulations to João Mendes for being such a low seed and coming through and taking a title. That is an amazing achievement. Let's keep this stream of consciousness going. What else do I want to mention? Mayasa Bastos getting her 6th title. That deserves a mention. Also in the women's divisions, I believe Janaína Lebre is now a Grand Slam champion, depending on how you measure the Grand Slam. And again, if you can let me know that, if you have a better insight into how the IBJJF do things, please do. But that kind of brings us all the way back round to Adam Wardzinski and his Grand Slam and his second gold. He had been the first European male to win a world title. Now he's the first European male to go back-to-back, and he has the Grand Slam to his name. So what do you think of Adam's career if this is indeed him riding off into the sunset? Get into the comments. please let me know anything I've said through that I got right or wrong. Get into the comments and let me know. Let's keep the discussion going in the comment section of the Jiu Jitsu Oracle. I'm going to be away for a week, but no doubt we'll be back soon with more content. We're going to do our best to have lots of content leading up to a huge summer in Jiu Jitsu, where we're going to get the second installment of CJI. But for the Gi Geeks, I wanted to do a podcast rounding up what happened at the Worlds and just giving some comments. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments. I'll see you again in the near future.